If you're a conservative parent, especially a Christian conservative parent, you're going to need to get real comfortable with this word here, sheltered. If you've been parenting in a conservative way for any amount of time here in our American culture, you've probably had people ask you, well, you don't want your kid to be, grow up sheltered. And people use this word as if it's, depriving a child of something good. Now, let me tell you, that is a satanic view of parenting. And honestly, the godly view for parents is to be providing shelter for your children. And if you look at the biblical use of the word sheltered, it is a beautiful, beautiful thing. All through the Old Testament, shelter is extremely important. Shelter, it means the difference between life and death, between health and illness, between poverty and sustainability of life. Shelter is absolutely necessary. And all through the Psalms, David talks about, my God is my shelter. Shelter me from this. I had to find shelter. Okay, so shelter is a great thing. And just as David and our Old Testament fathers looked to God to provide their shelter, our children look to us to provide shelter. And this isn't just physical shelter. When David in Psalm 91 cries out that God will shelter me under his wings, he doesn't literally mean that God has wings and is going to wrap him up. What he means is God is going to provide him with security and protection that he needs, because the world is coming against him. And you know what? The world is coming against us, and it is coming against our children in a way that we have never seen, and we better be ready. It's happening right now as things are happening politically that are going to roll in more and more anti-Christ programs and trends and socially acceptable norms that are absolutely anti-Christ. And so we need to gear ourselves up to be ready to be different. And does that mean keeping our kids sheltered? I think absolutely that is what we need to do. Providing shelter for your children is your responsibility, and they are a gift from God, and you better keep them safe, right? So as the world continues to try to steal our words and use them against us, just like I said in my last video about sheep, this word is being used as a derogatory, has this derogatory connotation that, sheltered children are deprived. No, sheltered children are kept safe from the snares of the enemy. You cannot send a warrior out to battle when they are not ready. Okay, our children have to be confident and secure in their identity and their foundation in Christ before they can go out and fight their own battles, because the enemy, as I always tell you, is prowling around looking for something to devour. The children are the weak members of the herd. The lion doesn't go after the buck of the gazelle herd. It goes after the injured foals, the injured calves, the young. Okay, so our young need to be in our shelter. Also, another thing that I'm going to tell you is feel free to be okay with being called closed-minded, because that's another thing that we and our children need to do. We need to guard our hearts and minds in Jesus Christ. We are not meant to be open-minded to every idea that's out there, because, who's sowing plenty of ideas in our world is the enemy of our souls. And we can think about those ideas and cast them right out of our minds and not allow them into the minds of our children or ourselves, because they don't glorify Christ and they corrupt. We don't even want a small seed to enter our mind or our children's mind that can grow into a corruptive and destructive force. So I want to encourage you to, when somebody says to you, well, aren't you afraid your kids will grow up sheltered? No, I'm confident that my kids will grow up sheltered. And when they are ready to get out of that shelter and go out into the world, they will have all the tools necessary to fight the fights that they need to fight in order to live for Christ and to maintain their integrity and their faith and their dedication to Christ-like living in this very growingly satanic world. I heard somebody this week talk about linguistic theft is a cultural tool to destroy religion and to destroy a current culture. You take the words and then you assign them new meanings. So I'm standing against this cultural theft of our biblical, beautiful words. Be a sheep and have shelter. Provide shelter for your children. It's a good thing. They deserve it. They need it. So yeah, if you want to, call me, hey, that lady, she, her kids are sheltered and she's so close-minded. I'm open-minded to the truth of Christ. I'm open-hearted, but I am not going to accept satanic ideas, and I'm not going to allow satanic ideas to take hold and to be planted in the minds of my children. And if you want to do the same, then let's stick together, and we're going to have to do it different, keep it real, and follow Jesus.